So welcome to the Sunday webinar. We had a really big lunch yesterday, which some of you were at. It's probably one of our biggest. I think there's a bit of a January bump, but also I just wanted to reflect that I ran socials for Club Soda 6 months before we even launched, just to see what it is that people wanted to do. And slowly over time, we've gone from a weekday evening, which wasn't good for people, to weekends that people can travel in from a bit further afield, from drinks to now lunches. And slowly but surely, the numbers have crept up. And part of that is because we've now got to a critical mass of members, I think, which is 15,000 members altogether, but definitely a big critical mass on Facebook, because connecting with people on Facebook makes you more likely to want to meet them in real life, which means you feel more relaxed coming to meet people that you've at least had some association with. And I think that's partly the reason why this Saturday was so busy. And I now need to work out how we deal with this many number of people at socials. So I will be looking for ideas coming up, but I hope to be able to accommodate all of you in different ways, create different types of events. Our pub crawls are happening during the week, but I know that's not great for everyone. But if you begin to look now in the events section, you'll begin to see a number of forward planned events, and we've done that very particularly so that we can find venues that will give us a private room. So that idea that we can get up and move around and mingle and not get in the way of the rest of the restaurant is really important, but also so that some of you can plan your travel so that you've got enough time to book a train ticket. And still, events will be different sizes. You know, Glasgow is going to be 6 or 7 people. I'm going, and you are going to Glasgow next Saturday. So if you are in Scotland, do come and join us. Manchester will be 20, and so on. But we've got other events in Birmingham and in Bristol, which will have a big event at Sam's venue. Sam's one of our members, and she's opening up her own cookhouse. And so hopefully that will come up this week, or next week will be on May the 12th in Bristol. So I just wanted to flag those up to you, because you will always know that I believe very passionately in connecting with other people to help you change your habits. It is the behavior change superpower, right? Because if you can connect with other people, begin to realize you're not on your own, get advice from people further along from you, and see other people managing and living happily while maintaining their goals, then you're more likely to succeed at your own goals. And so doing that online is great. Doing that in the real world, even more powerful. So do consider it if you want to come along to a social, and if you want to organise one near you, that is also possible. And there's a few members who've been talking to us about that. So do feel free to get in touch with me. We're not just an anonymous set of people. Me and Lucy are here, and we really want to hear your views on what it is that you want to happen. And we've actually got a few members like Janet and Stephanie who have now offered to help a bit more with socials, and Dawn, which is absolutely brilliant. So just to put that out there while I was waiting for 12 of you to arrive. So today I'm going to talk about discomfort, and I've picked that today for purely selfish reasons, right? Which is I'm on a diet, and these feelings of discomfort are completely common to a diet, to doing more exercise, to cutting out sugar, to quitting smoking. Any behavior change thing you've ever wanted to do in your life, you would have felt discomfort. What I find interesting about changing your drinking, though, is a lot of people use the word craving. Craving comes a lot from smoking cessation, because there's definitely a biting, urging craving that comes along. And I sometimes feel awkward when people use the word craving about alcohol, because it makes an assumption, sometimes I might be wrong, but this is where I hear it in my head. It makes an assumption around a physical dependence. And for most of us in Club Soda, you're not physically dependent, you're psychologically dependent. And the craving you're having is a real big mind battle. It's not a physical part of, it's not a physical reaction, whereas people who may be coming off of, who may be dependent on alcohol and coming off alcohol might have a physical craving, and other drugs, and nicotine being one of those, there's something very physical about it as well. Probably hard to tell the difference, to be honest, when your mind is going full belt and asking you to do something other than what you had planned. So I describe discomfort really as the internal battle that goes on when you want to do something that you've been used to doing at a particular time of day or particularly regularly. So for example, if you always opened a bottle of wine at 6 o'clock as you got home from work, then it's quite possible that the strongest time that you get a craving or a moment of discomfort is at 6 o'clock. Or it may be that you've managed to go for a week without drinking, and now your mind is switching back and saying to you, well, you've done a week now, come on, you deserve it, you deserve a treat for having done a week, so why not have a drink? And you're going, no, hang on a minute, I'm doing a month of drinking, so why can't I have a drink? Why do I want this drink? You know, I was doing so well, it all felt really good. It's a bit like having an angel on one side and a devil on the other, continually battling and fighting, and your head's in the middle, and it's tiring and it's energy sapping and you want it to stop. And in some ways, that's what the bad bit of you wants to do. It wants it to stop by you giving in and caving in. So it's a real big and a psychological fight that's going on in your head between your inner voice and the bit of you that's saying, no, I need to do this, I want to do this, my drinking was out of control, I now want to get it back into my control, this won't help, I've done a week, you know. So how do you deal with that real feeling of discomfort? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that it's important to recognize that that's what's going on, because you will stamp around the house like a bear with a sore head, go, this is terrible, this is awful, I thought, you know, giving up drinking was going to make me like, you know, like suddenly super duper energetic and sparkly, and my skin would be perfect and I wouldn't be fat anymore and it would all be perfect, this magic wand would happen. And no, instead I'm feeling gripey and angry and I'm having a fight with myself. So why is this happening? So first of all, it's really important to recognize that what you're going through is discomfort and that it's completely normal. So at the minute I've been, I'm quite hungry today. I don't know why, but maybe it's because I'm working at home and there's a fridge there, and every now and again I've been working and suddenly I've opened the door of the fridge. I don't even remember walking to the fridge, right? But there's a little bit of my brain that's going, you're at home, you've got some really nice cheese. You must have something nice in the fridge. And my mind is subconsciously wandering there because that's what it's used to doing. And then I have to have this little internal monologue with myself. Why am I stood in front of the fridge? Why is it I'm after something sweet? You know, what is it? Why am I hungry? If I'm hungry, why don't I have a glass of water? Oh no, it'd be far nicer just to get some frozen yogurt out of the freezer. So when you're used to doing something regularly, changing it is a big psychological shift. Your brain just wants you to follow the path of least resistance. It wants you to follow the path of least pain, and the least pain is doing what you've always done, sitting in front of the TV rather than going out for a run, not eating and drinking some water rather than having some salty crisps or some sweets, and having a glass of wine because that's what you've always done. It wants you to follow the path of least resistance, and it will do that at all sorts of surprising times of day, and it will be different for each of us, but it's really important just to stop and go, wow, my brain's asking me to do this because this is what I always do at this time of day, or my brain's asking me to do this because I've gone a whole week of not doing something and it's decided it's had enough. It wants me to cave in, it wants me to follow the path of least resistance. It wants me to do something because it's easier, because that's what it was used to doing, and dealing with the here and now is without it is far too difficult. It is in essence a feeling of discomfort. So once you've recognized that feeling of discomfort, the other thing to recognize or to know is that it isn't going to kill you. Ta-da! That's the magic formula. It took me ages to realize that this was just a stage I had to go through. And however awkward, however bad, however mentally distressing it was going on in my head, this isn't going to kill me. This will pass, right? This feeling will pass. Now, there are many ways that you can help that pass, and we can talk about that in a minute. But it is just the bit where your brain has taken over, your subconscious brain has taken over and says, you must have a drink because that's what you always do. That is you. That's what you've done for the last 20 years. I don't understand why you're not doing it now. So once you realize that it is just discomfort, it isn't going to kill you, and that it will pass, that gives you an immense amount of power. And I've been doing that now, although I have to say, I did walk past where the sourdough donut stand is near work the other day and realised they're not there at the moment. I thought, phew, thank goodness for that. One of my obstacles is currently out of my way. But even I had that little moment as I was walking that way through Spitalfields Market thinking, well, maybe they've got a special offer on for January, and it'd be really rude because, you know, businesses do badly in January. It's part of my job to help businesses do well. See, that was still going through my mind, but that was my discomfort coming through. My denying myself was coming through. So I had to just laugh at myself, which is what I did. I went, ha, Laura, you're doing that tricking yourself that you used to do with drinking. You're now doing it with alcohol. You're trying to justify lots of reasons to eat something that you've decided you're not going to eat in order to deal with that discomfort. So you can see how it works. And you can just take the piss out of yourself, basically, and laugh. Oh, that's what the old me used to do. I can see what you're doing, inner brain. You're trying to trick me into drinking. Well, I'm not having any of it. You can do what you like. Now, some people call it the wine witch, and I think that's a really good analogy because it's like this evil presence shouting in your ear, trying to get you to do something you've promised not to do. But whatever you do, just remember it is your subconscious. It is trying to just, you know, do the things that it's used to doing, and you're trying to train it to do something different. You're trying to make it bend to your will rather than the other way around. And that training analogy isn't a bad one, actually, because the other thing about discomfort to know is that it will get easier, and it may never go away totally. I still have odd pangs of discomfort. So like at Christmas, my brother, we were playing a really good board game. My mum's not drinking at the moment at all because it makes her really, really sick now. She doesn't know what's quite happened to her, but she can't drink anything. So it's not like there's a big boozy event going on. We were drinking over a game. But my mum and me and my brother and Yusi were playing Cards Against Humanity. Just note here, Yusi was playing a game. I think he had to get over his discomfort to do that, bless him. But anyway, but my brother and Yusi both had some champagne, and I suddenly had this moment of discomfort. Well, why can't I do this? I always used to drink with board games. I really want it. Why can't I join in like them? Why can't I be normal like them? Yes, people, I still have those thoughts. Why can't I be normal? You know, la 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 la. And so in the end, I went and got myself an alternative drink. I managed to disrupt that discomfort, but I still have those moments of discomfort. But what happens is I have them less and less and less, and when they do come, I recognize them and I can do something about it. And I also recognize that when those strong feelings come into my head, that they are just thoughts, they're not orders. So discomfort's a thought, and it's a thought that's very persistent and niggly and that you need to deal with and get out of your head, but it's not an order either. So you may, on many occasions throughout the week, even throughout the day, have feelings of discomfort where your brain is telling you want to have a drink, but it's not going to kill you to ignore it. It's not going to kill you to do something different, and it's not an order. You don't have to follow it. But what you might need to do is disrupt it. And so that's what we're going to focus on now. You need to plan to navigate those things successfully. So you may know that I'm a real big fan of WHOOP, which as an anagram is Wish, Outcome, Obstacle, Plan. I like it because I can remember it, because as you all know, some things haven't improved with giving up drinking, and one of those is my memory. But I like WHOOP because I love the outcome bit of WHOOP. So WHOOP is, my wish would be to not drink today, right? My outcome is why I want to do it. The outcome is I don't want to drink today because that means I've got another day under my belt. That means that I can speak confidently to you all tomorrow and know that I haven't drunk. I will feel proud of myself for having done something difficult. And some positive things may come. My mental health may improve. I may lose weight. My skin may look better. I might look younger. I might be more productive. I might be able to set up my business. Whatever's important to you, that outcome is really important to remember. And that's why I like WHOOP in particular. And then it gets you to plan. And for somebody who's spent my entire life thinking I don't plan, I have now done what I'm asking you to do around my diet. And I have tried to plan what my obstacles are. So much so that I've written in the diary the joint diary that I share with UC for work, this is going to be a difficult day in Laura's diet. Be nice to her. Don't let her eat any bad food. And then I made Lucy go and buy me a plant today to reward me for going out running. I'm not sure how long I can labour this, but I'm working it. I'm trying to work it, right? So I've begun to plan what the obstacles are, and I'm using Whoop to do it. And I'm using Whoop on a daily basis and a weekly basis to look at my obstacles. And one of my biggest obstacles is discomfort, that feeling of discomfort. Because when it comes to food and drink, for that matter, none of us are too far away. You know, we probably only need to reach that far and we can touch an off license, somebody else who drinks, a work situation. You know, our week is going to be chock full of temptation. And so therefore you're going to have many moments of discomfort, and they could be, you know, that 6 p.m. when you come home, but it could be the Friday after work drinks. It could be the fact that you might be going out to an event. It could be anything. And not only does planning that event need thinking through and what you're going to do, but you need to understand how to deal with the very particular feeling of discomfort, that nagging inner voice that wants you to give up. And you know what happens if you give up again? You have to start day one again. That's a real pain in the ass, right? You don't want to do that. Okay, so how do we begin to disrupt that? Well, first is to recognize when those times may be. And you will know yourself. I used to start thinking about drinking at about 4 p.m. if I hadn't already drunk at lunchtime, because by the time I was in the job that made me so depressed and upset that my drinking escalated, it may well be that I'd gone on a boozy lunch. So it may be that you know that you have particular thinking, you start thinking about drinking at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It might be when you come home from work. It might be after you've put your kids to bed. It might be just the fact that you've gone a week without drinking, and that's the first time you've done that in a long time. But you will get a feeling of discomfort, and it may well strike when you're not expecting it. But write down all the times when you think it might strike. And then you've tried changing your drinking before. I know you all have. So I want you to start thinking about what that internal dialogue that's going on in your head sounds like. Can you think back at a time when it's happened before? You may have had some occurrences over the last couple of weeks when it's happened. Have a little think back and think about that situation. You may have been able to dodge it at that time, or you may be able to think about the arguments that your brain was using. What was it your brain was saying? Begin to write those things down. So at the minute my brain says, oh, you're having a really busy January, Laura. You deserve just to eat what you want and then think about your diet in February. Everyone does a diet in January. Everybody fails. Everyone fails by about this time. So I don't see why you should bother. Do it in February where you're not running with the crowd. What a load of old bollocks is that? Or the fact that it's going to be a really busy week and you're going to need some energy. So let's just have some sugar to pep myself up because then it'll be okay. Or I can come up with a million reasons. They're not very different to the ones that came up when I was giving up drinking. And they are also not unusual every time I've tried to do anything in my life that involves changing behavior. The same arguments come up. Oh, you deserve a reward. Oh, you deserve a treat. Oh, it's been a busy day. Janet pointed out that the fact that I was rewarding myself with a dessert on Saturday was probably not the right frame of mind to be in. The fact that I then didn't enjoy my dessert served me right. But actually that was quite a useful experience for me, because I realized that if I'm gonna use food as a reward, I need to make the most of that time, make that dessert last for ages. So I actually managed to do a really useful piece of internal reasoning and internal learning. But anyway, let's go back. You know what some of the arguments your brain uses are. Treat, reward are really big ones for us. Stressful day, don't forget we've all learned to use alcohol as a coping mechanism. So it's really hardwired into us. It won't take 2 seconds for your brain when you're feeling stressed to go, alcohol, alcohol, alcohol. That's what you always used. Why can't you use it now? You've always used it. And you need to go, no, I've got this covered. And so how do you get it covered? Well, first is to use logic. We've already talked a little bit about this. If you think about it, there's logic on your side. So first of all, you need to say, no, I have set myself this goal and I'm going to achieve it. Other people have managed to achieve it. Laura managed to achieve it. So I can do this and I want to do this. Go back to your outcome in your Whoop. Why is it you're doing this? You might want to write it down somewhere, keep it on your notes and go, the reason why I'm doing this, brain, is because I want to get away from the grip of alcohol controlling my life. I want to not wake up with hangovers so often. I want to be more productive, and this is why I'm doing it. And therefore, if I say yes to a drink now, that's what I'm saying no to. So if you don't mind, brain, I'm not going to listen to you right now. You may also want to tell it that it's complete rubbish, that you need to do this for stress. There are other things that you can do instead. We'll come on to those in a minute. Or it might be that you want to tell your brain that this can't possibly be a reward, because look at the impact, the negative impact alcohol has had on your life, and therefore why could this ever be perceived as a reward? In fact, for you, it's probably been self-harm. It was for me. I've become an extreme sport drinker, all around the basis of low self-esteem and self-harm. So again, maybe use some logic. Remember what your outcomes were that you're hoping for by doing this, and batter it back a bit. Now, I would love to say that that would totally work, but it's not always enough. You are incredibly persuasive when it comes to yourself. And then if someone came along into the room and said, oh, well, go on, just have a drink, if you want one so badly, you would just go cave in just like that. So not only are you the most persuasive person to dissuade you from doing what you want to do, but the minute somebody else comes in when you're in that vulnerable position, you'll just collapse. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want that to happen for you. So you need to distract yourself. Now, most periods of discomfort last about 20 minutes. But some you'll need to really, really work on immediately, because the sooner you can disrupt that thought in your head, I want to drink, I'm going to have a drink, and do something about it, the less likely it is that alcohol is going to seep in accidentally or purposely, or because your brain's told you it wants it. So what you need to do is to begin to disrupt that and know full well, on this occasion, what is it you're going to do? So if discomfort happens, I will do. Now, what is it you're going to do? Now, I suggest that first of all, you have some things really quickly at hand that you will do that will take 2 minutes to execute, so that you don't have to, you could decide to go for a run, but by the time you've put your jogging pants on, put your trainers on, everything like that, you would have probably be doing it with one hand going towards the fridge like that. So it's really important that you can disrupt something really quickly. So write down a list of real quick things. Have something to eat in your bag, maybe something sweet like a piece of chocolate, or have it in the fridge. Have an alcohol-free drink close at hand if it's at that 6 o'clock time that's important for you. Then have something in the fridge that you know you're going to drink instead, that you're going to enjoy, that you're going to like. It's not punishment to drink something you like, so have something you like. It might be that you drink a pint of water, because don't forget, often we drink alcohol when we're thirsty and when we're hungry. And what we should be doing is eating and drinking fluids that aren't alcohol. I did it all the time. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm tired. It's ridiculous. I did some very good stuff when I first gave up, which was napping. Oh, I feel like a drink. I'm going to go lie down, listen to my audiobook, or the Archers, depending on the time of day, and I'm going to just ride this one out by having a little bit of a nap and a little bit of a rest. It may be that you want to phone somebody, talk to somebody, text somebody, come on the Facebook group, all really quick, immediate things that you can do. Write as long a list as you possibly can, and then go and buy anything on that list to make sure that you've got it. And it doesn't matter how many packets of Haribo that you've got stuffed in your bag, in your fridge, wherever, as long as they're close at hand, so you can completely disrupt that feeling as soon as possible. Now, maybe that feeling lasts a bit longer and can be, like I say, up to 20 minutes. So what other things can you do? It might be about doing some yoga. It might be about running around the block. It might be going to the loo. It might be, doing a beauty thing in the bathroom. It might be reading a chapter of a book. It might be going to have a cigarette if you smoke. It might be having a longer conversation with a friend, phoning a friend that you haven't spoken to for ages. The list can be endless. In fact, we've got a long list that also includes lots of chores, like ironing, sorting out a cupboard, sorting out under the sink, and whilst they may not be the most glamorous of tasks, if they last a short amount of time and you feel satisfied and quite woohoo after doing something that's been on your to-do list for a while, then that's absolutely fine. We have to take our little highs here as we're getting through this difficult time. So write a list of small tasks around the house that you want to do, or that you think you could do in discomfort. So the minute, again, that discomfort strikes, you can go, right, I'm going to have a square of chocolate and I'm going to sort out under the sink. I'm going to have a square of chocolate and sort out the socks. And if you want to have any analogy on how that operated for me today, I have sorted out all of my clothes cupboards. I've done another bag for the charity shop. I've repatriated all the bits around the house that needed going back to places. I folded up the washing, put it all back in the cupboards. I've done all of that today because I was a bit hungry and I didn't want to think about eating. It also helps that I don't actually live anywhere near a shop that's got any unhealthy food. But anyway, and this is the plant that I got Yusi to buy me as a reward for running. I'm sad. I'm so sad. I'm so sorry. Poor Yusi. But you get that idea that you're trying to disrupt a pattern of behavior. You're trying to disrupt something you've always done to create a new set of behaviors, a new set of you, and to begin to hardwire your brain differently. And you can do this. And every day it gets easier. And then there'll be a hard one thrown in because there'll be a different situation, a different person, a different set of circumstances, and it might take you a bit by surprise. But each time you're learning that this is just a thought and not an order, and it's just your internal brain wanting you to give up and take the path of least resistance. And what I want to say to you is the more that you can practice dodging discomfort, the more you will get stronger, the stronger your resolve will be, and the more likely you are to cope with what comes up ahead of you, and the more likely you are to get to your goal and keep there in the longer term. And that's also the same if you've slipped up at any point and you've given in to that internal monologue. It doesn't mean that you're a complete failure and you have to jack it all in. It means that you've learned another set of triggers that you need to plan for. And instead of giving up, because what you'd have done is given up weeks, months of dodging discomfort, which you've become to master and you've learned a lot about. Instead of giving up and relaxing those, muscles that help you dodge discomfort, instead of that, you need to pick straight up again. Because if you let that practice, if you let that dodging discomfort practice disappear, you'll have to go all the way back to square one. So don't ever see a lapse as being a permanent end to you reaching your goal. See it as a learning experience that you need to pick up again as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you'll undo weeks, days, months of hard work. And I don't want you to do that because I know you can get there. I know you can reach your goal. It does get easier. And if you're moderating your drinking, so if you're choosing to drink certain nights of the week or actually do a particular length of time off, then actually this is even more important to master, because the minute alcohol touches your bloodstream, you'll want to give in to your inner monologue even more. And so you need to work out that in those circumstances, what are the ways that you can disrupt your thought patterns to make sure that you don't drink anymore. And that's actually really quite difficult. And you'll need to be really strong. And that might mean that you delay drinks rather than start with an alcoholic drink, but delay drinks so that you can really make a decision based on what's going on around you and you're still more sober than everyone else. It may be that you need to have, food in your pockets when you go out. It still might mean you have an alcohol-free drink that you take with you and sneak into a venue. But whatever you do, you need to find those things where you can go, right, I'm not drinking anymore because I've got this box set to watch when I get home. I don't want to drink anymore because this is what I want to do tomorrow. Because every time you pick up a drink, if you say yes to a drink, what is it that you're saying no to? And that works the same whether you're moderating or whether you're going alcohol free. If I have this drink now, what am I saying no to tomorrow? So I hope you get a better understanding that discomfort's normal. It happens to everybody. It happens to everybody, whatever the behavior change they're trying to do. So this isn't something particular to alcohol. You don't have suddenly some raging alcoholism and this is craving and you are like the worst drug addict in the world. Don't fall into that trick of deciding that what you've got is something special and different. It's actually quite normal for all of us to have these feelings of discomfort, and know that with logic, with planning, with, you know, reiterating what your goal is, by recognizing that discomfort's happening and then dispelling it with logic and actions, you can dodge this discomfort, and it will get easier and easier and easier. And then you just laugh at yourself when it happens and go, oh, didn't expect that to happen then. Isn't that interesting? Get me a glass of shrub or kombucha or our coffee cider. Or I'm quite liking the Scavi and Ray alcohol-free Prosecco that we had yesterday. I didn't drink many of these things when I first gave up drinking, so it's quite interesting for me now to be drinking these drinks. But to me, they're great. They help make my evening. They are special. And we are all special. So don't forget to reward yourself in other ways. Don't forget you're doing something difficult. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So I'm just going to check if there's any questions. Ooh. I'm hoping you can see me okay, because my computer's going a bit, my desktop, which is behind my laptop, which I'm doing this on, has, yeah, I did say ironing. Sorry, Charlie, you don't have to do it. It's your world. You have to find the thing that works for you. And this is very personal in many ways, how you choose to ride discomfort. It could be that you do a jigsaw puzzle. It could be that you do a word game on a computer. It could be many, many things. Somebody was saying the other day that he was going to take his word games off of his phone because he wanted to not spend so much time doing word games as well as give up drinking. And I said, maybe hold your horses on that one, because you may find the word game will get you through a 20 minutes of discomfort. And if it's something that you enjoy, then use it. And then 6 months down the line, do your digital detox and delete it from your phone. But if it gets you through these first 6 months, otherwise you're going to be feeling the discomfort of not drinking and the discomfort of not being able to play a word game when you've been used to doing that on the tube or whatever. So just, you know, give yourself a break and make sure you concentrate on the biggest devil out of all of those at the moment. Okay, everybody. I know that Janet's off to do the washing up now, and I will speak to you all soon. We've actually got a lot of guest webinars coming up, which I'm really excited about. So you might not hear from me for a little while, but I will be popping up as always. And let us know if there's any topics or any issues that are really big for you right now. Okay, bye.